She was less than an hour away from getting dumped. Her boyfriend was about to say the words that would devastate her for months and years to come. Until she asked him 3 seemingly harmless little questions that changed everything about the way he saw her, how he felt about her, and even how he thought about relationships, and pulled him back from making the biggest mistake of both of their lives. Hi, I'm Slade Shaw, and today I'm going to share with you the exact reason why men pull away, and the harmless questions you can ask any man that will wake up overwhelming feelings of love and devotion for you, pushing any thoughts about other women out of his mind, and giving him absolute certainty that you are the only woman he wants to be with, now and forever. And I know this all might sound crazy to you right now, just as it did to the hundreds of women I've shared these questions with over the past 11 past. Now you should know these harmless questions aren't questions about how he's feeling, what he's thinking, or what he wants in a relationship. So if you're thinking about having a talk with a guy about what's in his mind and how he's feeling, don't. Any direct questions about your relationship, no matter how subtle you think you're being, feel to a man like you're pressuring him. And coached men for years, I knew I had an email list of thousands of guys who would be more than happy to answer my questions. These guys had already shared the most intimate details of their inner lives with me. Their fears, their failures, their insecurities around women and dating, and I knew I could trust them to be completely honest with me. So before I went to bed, I sent a mass email out to see who would answer a few questions for me. The next morning, my inbox was flooded with responses. It was only 8 a.m. and already 318 men had written me back saying they'd love to talk. By noon, that number was closer to 700, and by 6 p.m. that night, I had 1,218 messages from men saying they'd be happy to help. I wrote 18 questions asking these men why they pulled away from certain women, how they felt, and what was different with the women they felt completely devoted to. I got over 700 responses, and as I read them over that week and took notes, I noticed some startling patterns. The same answers were appearing over and over again, often with the same exact words and phrases, and the more responses I got, the clearer the patterns became. I dug deeper into their responses, and by the end of the week, I couldn't believe the story their answers told. I'd made 3 discoveries that painted a clear picture of why men pull away and what a woman can do about it to turn his feelings around and wake up the part of him that wants to be a loyal and devoted partner who worships his woman as his queen. Now, I want you to pay close attention to this next part, particularly to discovery number 3, since this is the most important part of the presentation, because it's the 3rd discovery that is the key to the harmless questions that make any man feel intensely bonded and desperately drawn to any woman. Discovery number 1. Men want a secure, loving relationship as much as, if not more than, women do. I know it can seem like a lot of men just want sex and are scared of deeper intimacy and commitment, but every single man I've talked to has said that sure, he likes sex, but deep down inside, he'd really like to find one special girl to be his best friend and partner. Discovery number 2. Men need certain very specific things to commit and stay committed to a woman with their whole heart. For women, committing more deeply to a man is a natural extension of enjoying his company, sharing common values and viewpoints, and having sexual chemistry. That's because women's brains are wired to release bonding hormones when they're with a man they're attracted to, and especially when they're having sex with him. But men don't have this same mechanism in their brain. So a man doesn't automatically bond to a woman just because he likes spending time with her, is attracted to her, and is sleeping with her. So no matter how well things are going, a man needs one more ingredient, something which sets off his male bonding instincts and pushes him over the edge. From, I like spending time with this woman, to seeing her as the only woman for him, a woman he'd be miserable without. Without this missing ingredient, even if your man commits to you with his words and actions, in his mind, he's not really committed. That primal part of his brain is always on the lookout for someone else to come along that can satisfy that deep desire he has for the one. What is this missing ingredient a man needs to commit to a woman with his whole heart? That brings us to discovery number 3. Discovery number 3, pulling away is a man's way of finding out if you're really the one for him. There are a number of reasons why a man will pull away from a woman. Sometimes he feels like things are moving too quickly and he wants some space. Yes, even if he's the one that got things moving so quickly in the first place. Sometimes he's scared of getting hurt and wants reassurance that you'll be there for him. Sometimes he's just busy or preoccupied with something and it really does have nothing to do with you. But no matter what the reason is, they all have one thing in common. All men will pull away at one point or another in the course of dating or in a relationship. And when he does, whether it's when you first meet him or after weeks or months or many years, it creates what I call a critical moment. That is, how you react when he pulls away is critical to whether he sees you as the one or just the one for now. You see, when most women sense a man is pulling away, they do one of two things. They either try to talk to him about it and find out what's going on, or they pull back themselves in the hope that he'll fill the vacuum and come back to them. But neither of these approaches work, because while you might see wanting to talk about your feelings as good communication, a man who's not ready sees it as pressure. And any time he senses that you're trying to pressure him in your relationship, even if you're not, it makes him feel panicked and want to retreat even further. And while the second option, pulling back yourself to let him come to you, might seem like a good idea, a man will think you're either playing games or are actually cold and uninterested in him. Online program called Why Men Pull Away. Discover what he's really thinking, but would never tell you to your face. In it, I go through the exact reasons why men pull away, the various mistakes women make which drive their men further away, and the harmless questions for opening him up and drawing him to you like a high-powered magnet. Here's a small sample of what's inside this tell-all guide. The emotional can opener technique, for bypassing a man's walls and defenses and making him experience an intensity of love and attachment he never thought was possible. A lot of men are scared of these feelings and will do anything they can to avoid feeling them. But once they do, they're so grateful and wonder what they were ever afraid of in the first place. How to trigger a man's hunter-provider instincts, which make him want to win your love and do whatever it takes to make sure you feel completely loved and cherished. How to drop your mask with a man in a way that makes him want to be totally open and honest with you. The 5 stages of commitment, and how to know which one a man's in, and how to take him from one step to the next. Not knowing what stage a man's in is the #1 biggest mistake that makes women screw up their chances with a great guy. The secret to making him feel like he's king of the world, but only when he has you, his queen, by his side. And when he feels unstoppable with you, he'll count his lucky stars that you're choosing to be with him. The 6 red alert phases that shut down a man's ability to feel bonded to you. Avoid these at all costs or he'll never feel completely devoted to you, even you, and much, much more. That's just a small sample of what's inside this groundbreaking program. Because it not only gives you the exact tools and techniques, the phrases and questions that get him obsessed, devoted, and completely focused on you as his prize, but it changes the way you think about men and about how to relate to them.